is 3A. If you'll take a second to review the meeting minutes, any comments, questions, suggestions, or a motion to approve?
I'll
Take
make
a
a
second
motion.
to look over if you need to.
I wasn't here, so I can't tell you if they're right or wrong.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard when we have these types
Hey,
of.
they look good to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I already moved the motion.
Okay, so all in favor to approve the minutes, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Okay, it was unanimous. We'll move on to 3B, the CEO evaluation process.
Okay, good morning. So the PSTA process for my performance evaluation is for the Personnel Committee, which comprises of the Chair of PSTA, Vice Chair, and Secretary Treasurer, plus two additional members, to have two meetings, theoretically 2 meetings a year. This meeting, and then Rachel has scheduled a second meeting on Monday, March 26th, that hopefully is on your calendar. This meeting is simply for you to approve of the format of the evaluation.
March 26th, that's
It's
Sunday.
I'm sorry, it's the 27th.
27th, I'm sorry, March 27th.
I'm like, cool, we're coming on a Sunday.
Hopefully not.
Swim trunks.
I will be at a swim meet always. So that's basically the process. This meeting, we approve the form, which you have, I think, electronically, and then also at your places. And then the way that the evaluation process has worked in the past, this personnel committee approves the process, but it has been the chair of PSTA and their assistant sends out an email to the PSTA board with this form attached and says, gives a deadline to turn it back in. The idea for the chair to do it is to sort of show that it's an independent process. And then I think typically an assistant of whoever's the chair or works with Rachel, or Rachel has a little tally sheet that she can provide to tally it up. And then we meet on the 27th of March to review the results and make a recommendation to the PSTA board on the 28th. This year is a little bit, there's one small difference or discussion item that we had already at the executive committee. You know that we are right now engaged in this agency-wide performance scorecard process. We talked about it at the workshop back in January with this company, Mark Ash and his company Transpro, is developing a whole new performance scorecard system for PSTA. And theoretically, one of the tasks of for that company is to tie the agency's goals and missions to the CEO's performance evaluation, so that they're all tied together. That's not going to be done until April or May. The executive committee voted to go ahead and keep on the regular schedule of a March evaluation, which is the 12 months, and then go ahead and implement the new form, the new scorecard process for next year, last year. I think the thinking of the executive committee was, well, you know, this is looking at the past year when we already had the path forward goals set in place, so it would only be appropriate to put the evaluation in place next year once we have the whole scorecard in place. So at your places is the lovely form. And I'll just quickly point out a couple things. This is identical to the form that we used last year.
Okay, that was my question.
Which we put a lot of work into. We put a lot of work into redoing this evaluation form.
Yeah.
And with good results, I think.
Yeah, there is, of course, you'll know Mr. Bill Johnson. When he was on this committee, he's very happy, and you'll see at the very top is our mission statement of the organization, in case you need that as reference as you fill this out, which I think is nice. And then the board asked for these pretty detailed descriptions of what a 1 is supposed to mean, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5. So you have that there. I've done my best recently to, if you look at all of the different, there's 10 areas, rating criteria on your iPad. They're in blue italics is sort of notes that I've added on ways in which I believe the PSTA organization has accomplished the different path forward objectives or made progress on them. So on each page you can see sort of a summary of the activities that PSTA has undertaken over the last year. And then as a sort of cheat sheet, a one-pager. Hello. Hello. How's it going? At the very beginning of the document on page 2 is a little cheat sheet that shows basically the 10 areas, and I tried to summarize basically bullet points of accomplishments or progress on the Path Forward strategic plan elements.
I was going to say the 10 categories correlate to Path Forward, our strategic plan.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Actually, 7 of them directly tied to the 7 key Path Forward strategic plan goals, because there's only, the Path Forward plan has 7 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 1, 2, and 3 are not directly on the Path Forward plan, but they are what the board approved at least last year as sort of like 3 key sort of components: communication, accountability, and succession planning or leadership development. And I will copy that because I think those 3 areas have gotten a lot of attention and are doing pretty well. So that's pretty much it.
Can I just ask, as far as everybody's aware, this accommodates all the questions and suggestions for changes that we had last year with the previous form?
Yes. I mean, there was a lot of comments and discussion a year ago that the form from the previous year was highly subjective in its evaluation because all of the categories were kind of like number 1, 2, or 3. They were sort of just subjective.
One person's 3 may not be another person's 3,
Right.
so we spelled
Right.
out exactly what the scoring scale meant.
Now, I mean, even with these definitions and, tying to the Path Forward strategic plan, there is still some subjectivity to it.
Yeah.
I still expect from some of our more conservative board members to get maybe a couple 2s on the financial.
Get dinged a little bit.
On the bus thing, but,
Or 2.5.
yeah. Some board members
I
put
did have
0.5s and
Right,
different
right.
numbers in there. But at least on that one, at least what I've tried to articulate here is, I believe we did a lot of presentations on the bus issue, and at least from talking to the different board members, all the board members, including those who are maybe not so supportive of the type of bus that we're buying, they feel like they know a lot more, and they understand the pros and cons of what the decisions mean. So,
Well, and the important part, though, is that you're carrying out the will of the board in that respect, not
Yeah.
the will of individual board members, so.
And Brad, just to clarify, I think one thing that may have gotten a little lost in translation is that even if we hadn't purchased the electric vehicles and had gone out and bought a bunch of diesel buses, we don't have the operations budget to run those buses, correct?
Oh, correct, I mean, right,
Yeah, I mean,
expansion buses, that's right.
Expansion buses, we don't have the operating budget to run theoretically what, all of those extra diesel buses.
Correct.
So I don't think that was clear. I don't think the board, as chair, I
Probably
did not
so.
make it clear. Perhaps we should-
And some of those issues about clarity and ensuring that we carry out the board's direction on all aspects is the idea behind this performance scorecard process. That the board adopts as Mark said at their workshop, the definition of success, and then it even becomes less subjective. Like, well, you hit it, or you hit the mark, or you didn't hit the mark. Also at your places, and the last page, I just added this last night to it, is a little summary sheet of my compensation. Because I noticed in the paper, there's some folks, new board members don't necessarily know and get surprised. I don't want anyone to be surprised at what the compensation situation is and what my package is. I have a contract, but it doesn't, my contract is automatically renewed for as long as the board wants it to be renewed. It doesn't have like an end date to it. And the key components are listed there on that one page. My counterpart over across the bay in Catherine, her salary is, I couldn't identify what it exactly was. I believe it's a little bit, it's right around the exact same.
It was published in the newspaper, I just don't remember what it was. It was in one of the articles that was just out within the last few weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I couldn't seem to find it.
Yeah.
But I'll find it out.
Yeah, I think it was slightly more than yours, I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's right in the same range. So,
That's the one that Janet had a hard time with.
yeah, why, that's what I read, and I said, oh gosh, I have that.
Yeah,
also.
but you're not in catch-up, so it's not well, if you're over 55 or 60 or something, you can do more, and then it would match more, obviously. I think it's up to 24 or 26 or something.
Oh, okay.
That was the thing. But I wonder if she knows that's in there.
Well, that's why I bring this on, I want to make sure she knows. I have my one-on-one with her, I'm going to tell her. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, the former executive of PSTA had that was a carryover
Right.
provision. And I don't know if the county does this, but PSTA, not the same 50-50 match, but we have the same kind of program for our own employees, where we have,
457.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's a small
Oh, I
match.
wish we had that. But no, actually, the issue was that he was the only one in the agency that had a contract. The only one in the whole county government that had a contract. Even Mark doesn't have one.
Brad, what do you?
Because he didn't want one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Our decision today is to approve the performance evaluation.
Approve the form and the process by which you, as chair, will send this out and ask all the board members to fill it out.
That's why I asked the question, have we accommodated everything that was
Right.
brought to bear in last year's commentary on it? I think it's pretty close, if not all those items. Now, we'll always have issues that maybe someone wants to add or take out or, somehow tweak. But I think as long as this is pretty close to what everybody asked for last year, I'd move to approve it.
Yeah, and I believe in the narrative evaluation, we've created that space for people to make additional comments that may not fit exactly
Right.
into the questionnaire. And I recall that we were pretty thorough with this and came up with a pretty
Right.
good document for doing the evaluation. So,
Right.
No, I
is that a
agree.
motion?
Yeah, that was a
and I
motion.
seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I like it. We're getting ready to do the same thing with our city manager because so many of the questions, we had no idea,
Mhm.
how well do you interact with your employees? I don't know.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it needs to be measurable based on
Mhm.
path forward. So I think it's great.
Okay. All right.
The only other thought,
Everybody's not good.
Yeah.
the issue that I thought of was we have some newer board members. I've already asked Mark Dighton, since he is, technically, they have not had their election, so I feel like he's still on the hook.
Mhm.
And since he was here for the year, he has agreed to fill this out. Not necessarily, he's not gonna come to any more meetings, but
Mhm.
Sure. Makes sense.
he'll fill it out.
Mhm.
Josh Schulman is brand new, and he was not around for this year.
Do we have an idea on the, we have at least one vacancy, right? So we have one additional
Dighton.
person to add?
We have Mark Dighton's vacancy.
Yeah, right, yeah.
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 Should we be consistent then? Should we have Ben Diamond do the evaluation for the St. Pete rep? Since Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that would preclude us from
Yeah,
doing
I was
that?
just wondering, because he's in another elected position now, I wonder if that would
Is
preclude
there any
that. I don't
laws or
know.
bylaws?
I don't think so. I was just asked to do one for something. I can't remember what.
I mean, I'm fine with it as
Something
long as we
that from
don't
a previous,
violate. Maybe that's an
Yeah.
Allen
position you
question.
had?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's an Alan
Oh,
question.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm off that committee now, or whatever, that board, whatever it is.
That's probably an Allen question, I think, to
Well,
just verify that we're not violating. I don't
Yeah,
think we are, but.
yeah. Never can tell.
And then just, do we give the new people the option of doing it, or the option of not doing it? Because they've been here such a short time.
I think that should
I
be,
mean, I think
yeah.
that's fair.
Optional.
What's the, due date on this?
Yeah.
Mark?
Well, the hope would be to take it, that it would be due before March 25th, right?
Mhm.
That's the next
And,
meeting.
and when's it due
March
back?
27th.
And when's it due back?
We need to determine that.
Probably the week prior, I would say.
Do we want, what do we usually give them, a week or 2 weeks?
I don't know, you just start hounding me, that's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the key is not to give it too long.
Yeah.
Right.
You think there's something that maybe should, to that point, that maybe should be into the bylaws or something that, if the person is less than X amount, that it that it defaults back to the, for instance, I'm gonna be transitioning out next year, and the new person will be transitioning at the exact same time this is happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, at least if it's,
Yeah, to have a standardized procedure for
that,
that.
if you're
That's a
not,
good
if you
idea.
haven't been, then it's clear, and we're not,
Yeah, that's a good
Josh
idea.
is not getting poo-pooed
Yeah.
because he's new, or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or in the
That would probably be
alternative,
again.
or in
probably
the
be-
alternative, we solicit this form at a different time of year, because a lot of people transition out.
At that.
Yeah,
Just a thought, so it's in writing.
yeah,
We're
yeah, because
acting-
municipalities,
We did it in-
municipalities are in April.
Yeah.
So, or excuse me,
March.
March rather, excuse me, March. And other municipalities and county people are at the fall election time, November.
Right.
So maybe we ought to schedule when this is due at a time other than either of those 2 months.
The middle of the summer.
Yeah, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that way we could alleviate
Either
the
bold that or
problem.
put it
It
so
probably is something
transparent
though
about.
about when your raises.
We're not
when we're
handpicking people
supposed
that we want to
evaluate.
review people.
Right,
Yeah, this would be the year time period in the spring. We had this discussion
Spring,
before.
Yeah.
Summertime is a little problematic because that's when we will be buying our buses.
yeah, that's true. We got a lot of other things on the table at that time, yeah.
Lots of issues on the table in the summertime. But
I think we should just keep it here and just give people the option of filling it out
Okay,
or not.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
We'll just take it, the newbies with a grain of salt.
Right. I mean, the goal is to get an evaluation of your performance for the year. So we should be talking to people who actually were sitting here working with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
which
seems to
which
me
would
to
be the
be
people
the price
transmissioning
of
out.
admission.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so then, in that case, then it would be the
Then
people
Josh
who are
will get one.
transmitting out, moving out, would be the people that would do it, not the brand new people, like,
Right.
in, for instance,
But I heard
Josh's
Lucy
case.
asking Josh to fill this out.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
As long as it's within a reasonable amount of time. I mean, if somebody left in the middle of the year and the person came on and had enough
Right,
time,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking, if it was in writing, then it's transparent and we know. If we
Yeah,
haven't,
'cause,
I think the
If it's
changes
in-
happened within a couple of months.
Yeah.
We get in
Okay.
November and, well, actually, we don't get in here until,
because Ben left like 2 meetings ago?
But he was,
Got
he
elected in
didn't,
November.
he got elected in November.
Oh, so that's been,
So his last meeting, I can't remember even when it came to the October meeting, but would have been October.
Yeah.
October, November.
But he was
December.
the rep, he didn't come to the meeting, but he was the rep
Yeah.
of record.
Oh, I see, he still held the position, just,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I didn't know how that worked.
Awesome. I'm sure he'll love to fill this out and get Rachel's for asking for context up in Tallahassee.
Just what he needs.
Yeah.
So what are we doing, 1 week?
Do you,
What?
Can we come up with dates that you
Um,
want it?
You want to do it in a week?
Like, let's say I sent the form out Friday, have them return it
Judy
the
would
following
send the form
Friday?
out?
Huh?
Judy at St. Pete would send the form out?
Judy or Cindy,
Or
yeah.
Cindy?
You wanna do that? Have them do back on the 10th? That gives plenty of time to
March
start
10th?
nagging on
And then,
it.
yeah.
start
That gives us a week
nagging
to hand
and
people.
put everything
Yeah.
together.
Gives you a couple of days of nagging.
Yeah.
I can't remember, is this a smart form? Can we actually type in it, or is it a PDF?
Yeah, you could take it.
I could, yeah, I could do it that way.
That'd be easier, because my handwriting's horrible, so.
Yeah.
I'll just make a fillable PDF.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of compensation, so we distribute the evaluation, get those back, discuss the results at our next personnel meeting on the 27th, distribute, publish out everybody's responses, and then that is part of the discussion for voting for making, and at that point, this committee would make a recommendation about compensation, and then take that to the full board where there's a discussion, what, March 29th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And is the compensation, this isn't, it's not,
What is your, like, annual cycle for raises and things like that? Is
Well,
there a certain
October
time?
1.
October 1?
But
Yours is
mine is March.
Okay.
and is this the change in salary, is that per contract? That it's based on the contract that you have, these are numbers that automatically happen? Kind
No.
of if you approve?
No, but last year,
We're just going with the raises we gave the other.
Right, okay.
yeah, last year we sort of started that precedent of tying it to what we gave the other employees.
I think that's what our city manager is, if they meet a certain score, that the city manager and our charter officials get the same raise that the other employees got,
Yeah.
except for merit and things like
And that's similar to Catherine's thing.
that. Okay.
So this is a suggestion, not a,
So by contract, it technically
It's
is
an FYI.
automatic, because it's based on whatever the
Okay.
employees get.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
so we need on the 22nd again?
27th. We were gonna come in on Sunday, the 26th, but
Yeah. Everybody's watching football games. so
watching
they-
football. and
Yeah, not me, okay.
We could do it, we could just do it at
Somebody
a
will send
bar.
that out, right?
Yeah.
Do we,
Yeah,
do
you'll
we need a
get
separate
you'll get
vote
them
to approve
all
that process,
ahead of
and then we
time.
approve the form? Should we do a second vote to approve the process?
And the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the timeframe?
Yeah, yeah.
Move approval
Second.
of all that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
I think that's it, guys.
Okay.
Unless there's
Okay.
any other questions or comments? we can
Apologize for
adjourn the
being
meeting.
late.
That's all right.
I was early. I was here for the
Right.
legislative meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was.
And I get to hang out for mayor's council, so I got another 30
Mm.
minutes to go.
Or you can walk.
Around the
I
corner.
could walk to the Marriott.
Walk over there.
Actually, it should be pretty good, because we're talking about, you're not coming, right?
No.
Janet's coming. It's the Penny for Pinellas. They're